everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have had quite a few comments and questions regarding sinking funds, and this is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while anyways, so I thought it would be the perfect time to make this video for anybody that has questions, or if you want to start sinking funds or just want to know more about them, this will be the perfect video for you. So let's get started here. So a lot of I guess if you guys follow Dave Ramsey or have read any of his books, The Total Money Makeover, or are doing any of his methods, sinking funds is one of the methods that he goes for. So first of all, I just want to explain what a sinking fund is. So a sinking fund is basically, I guess you could say it in different categories. So the first one I would consider something that is irregular. So maybe car maintenance, that is something that you don't exactly know when you're going to need the money, but you know that you're going to have some type of maintenance to perform on your car each year, but you don't exactly know when that'll be. So it would be nice to put money towards that. That way, if you did have some type of maintenance or unexpected emergency with your car, you had the money available and you didn't have to get into debt to be able to pay that. So the first one would be irregular. The next one would be something that is unexpected. So this one, I'm going to use a car maintenance example again. Maybe you are driving and your alternator goes out in your car. If you have a designated sinking fund, you can just pull that money out of there rather than trying to scramble to come up with the money to fix whatever repair it is or to get a new alternator. You already have that money set aside and it's not going to put you further into debt because you weren't prepared. So the sinking funds allow you to be prepared for something, whether it's irregular, unexpected, or the next one would be something that's predictable but infrequent. So, let's say this one again could go towards car maintenance, but let's say a Christmas fund. So, or a gift fund, say. You know that you are going to need to buy gifts for somebody, probably multiple people throughout the year. So if you have a designated fund for gifts and that you're adding to every week, then when someone's birthday comes up or Christmas or Valentine's Day, anniversaries, whatever it may be, you're able to just pull that money straight from that gift fund to use towards that infrequent purchase, and you don't have to pull from your regular paycheck or put yourself into debt or use a credit card to make those purchases. So sinking funds are just a way to be prepared for irregular, unexpected, infrequent, and sometimes predictable purchases. So the next thing that people ask is, when do you start making sinking funds? When do you create them? When is the best time to do so? So with sinking funds, if you are brand new at budgeting, you have not written out your budgets, you don't know where all your money is going yet, that is what you want to start with first. You want to make out a list of all of your bills, and that includes your rent or mortgage, car payments, insurance, utilities, and then so those are your regular expenses, but then you also want to include your debt in there. So any credit card payments, student loan payments, medical bills, anything like that. Once you have that list made out and all of your bills are taken care of, and then maybe you have extra money, at that point, that is when you should come up with sinking funds. Now, if you are just starting out with budgeting, you might not be able to do sinking funds right away, or maybe you'll only be able to take care of one or two, and that's okay. Once you get more into budgeting and you get farther down the road and you have paid off a little bit of debt using the snowball method, then you will be able to free up some of your money to put towards sinking funds. So that's the next step, is basically you just need to write out all your bills, make sure everything is taken care of, and then if you have extra money, then that is the time to set up your sinking funds, and you'll just have to figure out what you can allow towards those sinking funds as to how many you're able to have, and you can always add more as you go. You can take away depending on your needs and changes, so they're totally, I guess, adaptable and changeable. So it's just when you have that money left over. So when to do it is when a budget list is created and all bills are taken care of. So the next one would be categories. A lot of people ask, what kind of categories do you need for sinking funds? And this one really is completely up to you and your own personal preference, and what you think or what things in your life may be important now, you know, for your own individual style. So I would kind of put this into two different categories. The first one would be your wants, and the other one would be your needs. So obviously the needs are more important than the wants, but the wants can be important too. And again, it's totally up to you. There is no right or wrong with what kind of sinking funds you have. It's completely up to you, which makes it great because you can customize it to fit your style, your needs, your wants, everything. So obviously a want would be like a vacation. Maybe you want to take your family to Disneyland or go for just a summer road trip, something like that. Maybe you want to start a clothing fund. So say you haven't bought clothes in a while and maybe your clothes are outdated, so starting just a small clothing sinking fund, that way you can put aside a little bit every week and then go shopping somewhere. Another want, and this could kind of go into wants and needs, but you know, maybe hair and nail care. So I know that there are a lot of women that get their nails done and it's not necessarily a need at all, but doing so maybe makes them feel good about themselves. So we'll have one here for hair and nails. So those are just a few examples of some wants. And then needs, so a big one would be car maintenance. So if you have a vehicle, no matter what kind of vehicle it is, you know that it is going to require some type of maintenance at some point in the near future, whether it be new tires, oil changes, you know, those are just maintenance repairs. But then if you are driving down the road and, like I said, your alternator goes out or your battery goes out or something like that that's unexpected, you want to be able to have money set aside for that. That way, whether it is an unexpected repair or a predictable but infrequent repair, you have that money and you don't have to scramble to take money out of your paycheck that you didn't budget for or to put it on a credit card, you know, stuff like that. So car maintenance is a big one. Another one would be medical. So maybe you don't have medical bills, but you know that you're going to need to go see the doctor, you're going to need to go see the dentist, and with those, most people have co-pays, and maybe you're on a prescription that you have to purchase every month, so setting a small amount of money aside every month or every time you get paid to cover those co-pays when you do need to go to the doctor, or cover the medical bills that you obtain from going to a doctor, or prescriptions and whatnot. So those are just a few categories that I guess are pretty common ones. Again, this is completely up to you. I mean, everybody has their own wants, their own needs, so it's completely customizable. So I guess a few of my sinking funds, or I guess all of mine, I have medical, car maintenance, vacation, savings, and then I also have gifts, hygiene, kids, and I think that is it. So those are my sinking funds, and I actually just added a lot of those too there. I only had 2 before, and I've been budgeting now for 3 months. So you can add them at any point in time during your budgeting journey. So don't think that you have to do it all right now or nothing. It's completely customizable, and you can change it to fit your needs whenever you see it necessary. So now that you have your category set in place, you know what sinking funds you want to start saving towards, the next step is to determine how much money you're going to be putting in that sinking fund every week. And there's a few ways to do this. First of all, you need to know your budget. You need to know how much money you have available that you can allocate towards your sinking funds without causing you financial burden. So let's say, for example, you want to put money aside for your car registration, which obviously is due once a year, and that would be in the month of your birthday month. So let's just say that this is the very first week of the year, and I'm just going to go with mine. So my birthday is in June, so I have roughly 26 weeks from now until my car tags are due, and my car tags are $350 every year, and I'm basically just going by last year's car tags, so it might fluctuate a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take the $350 divided by the 26 weeks, and I do get paid weekly, so if you get paid bi-weekly, you would obviously divide that by however many weeks you have left, that you get paid until they're due. So $13.46, so I'm going to round that up, and then that will also cover if my car tag payment or my registration payment is a little more. I'm going to round it up, that way I'm covered a little bit. So $14 is what I would do here. So I basically took that my tags are $350, and then divided by 26 weeks, as that's how many paychecks I will get prior to that car registration being due. So that makes my total every week $14. So that is what I will allocate to that car maintenance sinking fund every week. And now this would just be for tags, but say I know that I'm probably going to put about $100 worth of maintenance in my car every year. I would just add that to the $350 and then divide that out too. So you can kind of customize it however you want to do there. Another example would be Christmas. So having a Christmas sinking fund is such a relief when it comes time for the holidays and you're not scrambling trying to take all of your paycheck to go buy Christmas gifts, if you have that envelope already allocated to the Christmas gifts, you've been saving all year long, or really whenever you start, you have that. It's just such a relief to not feel pressured and not feel obligated to have to use credit cards and go into debt just to purchase Christmas gifts. So again, let's just say that it's the very beginning of the year. So we'll just say going to the very end of November. So maybe you start shopping the beginning of December. So you would have 48 weeks. And let's say that I want to have $500 saved up by the time December 1st comes around so that I can start Christmas shopping. So I'm going to do that $500 divided by 48 weeks, which is going to be $10.41. So again, I'm going to round up to $11. So that was $500 was what I wanted to have by the time Christmas comes around, divided by 48 weeks, and that puts that sinking fund at $11. So by the time Christmas comes around, I'll actually have $528. I won't have to worry about stressing where the money's going to come from. I already have it set aside, and I can start buying Christmas gifts and not feel stressed out. So that's a really big one. It's such a good way to save for Christmas. Okay, and then I'll just go through one more example here with how much. So let's say you're getting down to the, last few dollars of what you have extra from your budget after you've paid all your bills, all your utilities, any other of the sinking funds. So say you wanted to start a clothing fund, and after you have everything paid for and you have $10 left each week, that would be something that you could put that $10 towards that clothing fund, or you can even divide that $10 in half and maybe do $5 to a clothing fund and $5 to a vacation fund. Whatever you want to do, but you just kind of got to calculate your money as you go and know where the money needs to be allocated, how much needs to be allocated, and that just all depends on you and what you buy, what you need to buy, and whatnot. So if you allocate that $10 that is left over to your clothing fund and you start that the very beginning of the year, by the time December comes around, or even the end of December, you will basically have $520 for a clothing fund. And obviously you're probably going to spend that, as you go. Maybe Kohl's is having a really good sale, so you want to take some money out of your clothing fund. You can do whatever you want to do, or you can save it all and go on a really big shopping spree for $520. Okay, so the last part of a sinking fund would be what happens after you get your money allocated to your sinking fund. So you have all your bills paid, you have all your utilities paid, your expenses, groceries, and whatnot, and then you've allocated your money to your sinking funds. One thing that I will advise you against is putting every single dollar to sinking funds. While it's great to be able to have control of your money and know that you have money allocated for a bunch of different unexpected or predictable, infrequent purchases, you also don't want to spread yourself too thin, especially when you are working maybe towards a debt snowball. If you are 100% debt-free and you have the money to allocate to sinking funds and you're not going to have to be paying towards a debt snowball, then that's a different story. But for me, I do have debt, and so I am doing the snowball method. So if I allocate all of my money to my bills, which like my debt would be the minimum payments on everything, and then any of my extra money to my sinking funds, then I'm going to have no money to put towards my debt snowball, and I'm basically just going to be making minimum payments on everything, which I'm sure you guys know, does not make the balance go down very fast at all, just due to interest. So it's nice to have a little bit of money left over, and then that money that is left over should go to your debt snowball. So for those of you that don't know, Dave Ramsey created the debt snowball method, which basically means that you would write all of your debt down on a piece of paper in order from smallest balance to largest balance, and that is the order that you would pay those debts off of. So what you would do is every month you pay the minimum payments on your debt. So credit cards, medical bills, loans, everything like that, all of your debt, you pay the minimum payments on. And then whatever money you have left over out of every paycheck, after your bills are paid, after your sinking funds are taken out, expenses and everything else, whatever money you have left goes towards that smallest balance. So in that week or bi-weekly or monthly, whatever you get paid, that smallest balance debt would get its normal minimum payment, as well as whatever extra money you had to throw at it. And you do that until that bill is paid off. And then once that bill is paid off, you start working on the next smallest balance debt. And then what you do there is you put the minimum payment towards all of your bills again, and then all of the extra money that you have, which you should have more now because you aren't making that smaller balance payment anymore, all of that money is going to now go towards your next smallest debt payment, and then that's how they got the name the Snowball method. So as you continue on paying your debt, you're going to be easing up your money more and more each debt you pay off, but then that, rolls over to pay off the next debt. So it's a really, really neat concept, and it's such a neat method for paying off debt. So that is what I do after I get all of my sinking funds in order. The money that I then have left over goes towards my debt snowball. So I just wanted to show you guys an example, and the example that I'm using is actually my current debt numbers. And actually these were done the very beginning of January, or actually going into January. I like to do this every month at the end of the month. That way I can kind of compare with what my total was last month with what my total is this month, and make sure that I'm going the direction that I want to, which is, decreasing my debt. So in regards to the debt snowball, this one right here is my lowest balance, and then it just goes in order all the way to down here, which is my biggest balance. So any of the money that I have left over is going towards this debt every paycheck. So I get paid weekly, so every week after I have paid all of my bills, all of my expenses, stuffed my cash envelopes, and done my sinking funds, any money left over I'm throwing at this bill or this debt. That way it just gets paid off faster. So once this bill or debt is paid off, I'm now going to move down to this one. Paying off the smaller balances first really gives you momentum to keep going. If I started down here with my biggest one, which is over $33,000, it would take such a long time to get that paid off, and we're all human, and we like being rewarded and being motivated. So being able to take out these little numbers first really gets the motivation drive in you to keep going, so that you can work your way down to the bigger numbers, and it just makes it easy to keep going. So once I have this one paid off, I will move down to this one. So I will then again be paying the minimum payments on all of these, and then I will be throwing anything extra that I have every week towards this one. And as you pay off each of these debts, you're going to have more and more left over at the end of every paycheck because you're not making those minimum payments anymore for the debts that you've already paid off. So it's just every time you pay one off, you're throwing that same money at the next one, and then that's why it's called the debt snowball. Again, it's an amazing method, and if you haven't heard of Dave Ramsey or haven't read any of his books, The Total Money Makeover is a really good and informative book. But this is kind of just an easier way to break it down for those that were interested. One more thing I wanted to go over before I end the video. There are a few different ways that you can keep track of your sinking funds. Some people do electronically, and actually I use that method as well as cash envelopes. And for the electronic portion of it, I use Capital One 360, which I will link up in the corner here. The video that I made regarding how to use Capital One 360 for cash envelopes. And then the rest of them, my sinking funds as well as my expenses, I use cash envelopes for. So I made these, they're just cardstock or like scrapbook paper, and then laminating sheets. And I did a video on how to make these as well, which I will also link in the upper hand part of this video. But so my sinking funds, I have vacation, which I put $15 a week in. I have medical, which I put $5 a week in. I have car maintenance, which I put $12 a week in. Savings, this one I don't have a set amount of what I put in each week. I kind of just base it on my income and how much money I have left over. So this one varies from week to week. Kids, and this is like if my kids need new clothing or something for school, back to school shopping, school supplies, extracurricular activities and whatnot, and I put 15 in this one. Hygiene would be for haircuts for my kids as well as myself, and this one gets $8 a week. And then gifts, which gets $10 a week. And then these are not sinking funds, but these are more expenses that I have cash envelopes for. So my daughter's tumbling, which gets $20 a week. Cell phone gets $30. Gas gets $35. Groceries gets $60, and spending gets $20. So those are my cash envelopes, and those are my sinking funds. So out of these, dividing them into needs and want categories, I would say that gifts is hard because it's not necessarily a need to have to get somebody a gift, but you know, when you have kids and family members, you know, you want to get them gifts for their birthday or for Christmas. So for me, gifts is a need. It is not a want. So gifts is a need. Hygiene is a need because my boys' hair grows like weeds and it has to be cut like once every 2 months or so. Kids is a necessity. They always need something, it seems. Savings is a need. Car maintenance is a need. Medical is a need, and the only want that I have in my sinking funds as of right now is vacation. So that is a look at my sinking funds and my process and how you set up sinking funds. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that it answered any questions that you have or maybe gave you motivation to set up your own sinking funds. If it is something that you're looking at doing. If you guys have any questions that I didn't answer, just let me know down below. And if you liked this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you liked what you saw, feel free to subscribe as well as hit that notification bell so you never miss out on another video. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!